Once upon a time, in a small village nestled on the edge of a dense forest, there lived a sweet and kind-hearted girl named Little Red Riding Hood. She was known by this name because of the beautiful red cloak and hood her grandmother had made for her. Little Red Riding Hood wore it wherever she went, and it had become her signature attire. One sunny morning, Little Red Riding Hood's mother called her into the kitchen. "Your grandmother is not feeling well," she said. "I have packed a basket with some bread, butter, and a jar of honey. Please take it to her and make sure she eats well and gets better soon." Little Red Riding Hood eagerly agreed, happy to help her beloved grandmother. Her mother gave her a stern warning before she left. "Remember, stay on the path and do not talk to strangers." With the basket in hand, Little Red Riding Hood set off through the forest, humming a cheerful tune. The forest was alive with the sounds of birds singing and leaves rustling in the breeze. As she walked, she admired the beautiful flowers growing along the path and decided to pick a few for her grandmother. While she was gathering flowers, a sly and cunning wolf appeared from behind the trees. Seeing the young girl alone, the wolf's eyes gleamed with a mischievous glint. He approached her with a friendly smile and asked, "Good morning, little girl. Where are you going on this fine day?" Remembering her mother's warning, Little Red Riding Hood hesitated, but, being polite, she answered, "I'm going to visit my grandmother, who lives in the cottage at the end of this path. She's not feeling well, and I'm bringing her some food." The wolf's mind began to race with a devious plan. "How thoughtful of you," he said. "But why not pick some more flowers for your grandmother? She would surely love them." Little Red Riding Hood thought this was a good idea and ventured off the path to gather more flowers. Meanwhile, the wolf, knowing a shortcut, hurried to the grandmother's cottage. When he arrived, he knocked on the door. "Who is it?" came the frail voice of the grandmother. "It's me, Little Red Riding Hood," the wolf replied, disguising his voice. "I've brought you some food to help you feel better. Come in, dear," said the grandmother, who was too weak to get out of bed. The wolf entered the cottage, quickly pounced on the grandmother, and locked her in the closet. He then put on her nightgown and cap, got into bed, and waited for Little Red Riding Hood. Soon after, Little Red Riding Hood arrived at the cottage, her arms full of flowers. She knocked on the door and heard the wolf's disguised voice inviting her in. "Come in, my dear." As she entered the cottage, she felt a strange sense of unease, but dismissed it, thinking her grandmother's illness might be the cause. She approached the bed and noticed something odd about her grandmother's appearance. "Grandmother, what big eyes you have," she said. "All the better to see you with, my dear," replied the wolf. "Grandmother, what big ears you have." "All the better to hear you with, my dear."